discussion.
Yeah,
Can lead to an
We
attempt.
can take whatever you've said tonight and moving forward.
But I didn't hear from everyone. You know, I feel like I talked a lot. I heard from them.
I'll say this, although I can see the value of adding more information to the minutes, it's tricky to differentiate, again, as stated tonight by many of you, what is valid information, where do you cut it off? And we have, how do I say this? It's, to bullet point, do we bullet point everything? Who makes the determination as to which information is bullet point worthy? Do we have an hour discussion at the next meeting about which bullet points were left off and why? You know, what it, no, but I mean, how about this? Maybe it's the direction to move in, but maybe we need to have some clear parameters as far as us as a board as to how we are going to then amend minutes and what we're going to ask of staff. Because if we are going to, I mean, as we discussed the minutes, any one of us can say, well, I rewatched or I watched the video recording and these things were said, but they were not included in the minutes. And
But I think that's the right of a board member. I'm not saying that I want to do that for an hour all the time. That happened once and I apologize for that. It was 3 sets of meeting minutes. It was weird. It was a lot in one. And again, that was when we were saying Allison said this, and you know, I'm not suggesting going back to that. But I do feel if something was left out and a board member wants to, whether it be trustee Zolvik or President Johnson or myself, and feels it was an important discussion point that we spent 30 minutes on and it's not in there, that's why you have that review of minutes. I mean, that's why, otherwise you would just, why would we review? We don't need to review them.
Well, we need to review them for accuracy.
Right.
You know.
So like, that we voted that way?
Right.
Right.
I mean, that's one of the things that we need to do.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, there's no question about it.
But I think that other boards also, the second part of that's one of the things you're reviewing is for accuracy of the motion
Sure.
and the votes, because sometimes we get that wrong
Right.
by accident, just a voice vote or a vote
Right.
well or something. But then the other part that I've seen in other communities, and here too at the beginning, was also to say, I mean, as a board, we had a discussion, and this was a big talk, and there's not, you know, we would like to just see that topic was said, it was addressed.
well, here's an interesting.
And that might never happen again, but if you did want to make it, you know, that's another reason you review the minutes. If you feel there was a significant discussion and it wasn't reflected, you have that opportunity. The board doesn't have to agree with it. That's just your opportunity.
What if we, and I'm not suggesting we make this change right now at 10:15, but something that we could consider is there was a discussion of X amount of minutes, right?
Go doing episodes morning.
Right, yeah.
It's 10:15.
Yeah. I just need 7 minutes for this. No, just kidding. But you know, that there's X amount of time spent on this because there were a variety of concerns raised. However, the board voted 7-0-5-2, whatever it is. I don't know. But I guess you can get that from seeing that it's whatever the vote outcome is. But
And you know why the vote, if the memo is how the vote turned out, you have the rationale for at least supporting that motion.
But, I mean, there are a variety of reasons why we vote for positive. Tonight I voted for the recycling every other week. I still don't think that's the best option.
Right, and I'm hoping that the discussion, that the minutes reflect that there was a discussion.
But I'm okay, yeah, right, and I would assume, yes. And there are times that we approve multi-million-dollar projects without,
And it's
anyone's
nice to
saying
know that you
so.
discussed, I'm going to use Metro Market for example. I actually read the minutes. It's nice to know that some of those things that I was concerned about were discussed. But right now, if you read our minutes today, they're a little different than they were back then. Different, you know, I don't know if it's a different policy or philosophy, but, and I was like, oh good, they did discuss that. You know, it just that even the word, they thought about the clawback clause, or they thought that there was discussion on parking, subsidy of parking, or what was the board considering around that multi-million-dollar investment? And I'm glad there's a record of it, I really am.
As trustee Maher pointed out, you may want to send it to a committee or something to look at the policy that's in the handbook. Because that will, and you may want to create a uniform, something that would not only just apply to the board, but if there's something that you want to see across the board, so that there's some consistency.
Can we do that as a committee of a whole? I don't know what that word is, but I would hate for a whole discussion to go about, and then we have to recreate that discussion. I don't know how to do that. I mean, it is a board decision.
You just put on the board.
You can do that. Typically, I would prefer to be in a committee first.
I'm sorry?
I typically prefer to be in a committee first.
I was going to suggest that perhaps as a next step, a committee can think about how we want to memorialize this conversation about memorializing this conversation.
Can we do it at a time
Because
of-
again, there's a spectrum between absolutely nothing on one end to a written transcript on another. We're over here meeting the bare minimum, and what we're saying, what some of the board is saying is we want to move down the spectrum a little bit.
You can stop right there, we don't even have to go that far.
How far? And I do not object to having, it might be me that said bullets, the board discussed this, and this. My concern is that, again, in the past, when we've had discussions by this board about amending minutes, it was, I want the records to reflect, I said this, and I said this, and that I'm very much challenged by. But if we can have something that just says, here are the items the board discussed, I think that can be workable. How we draw that guideline, if in fact we need to draw that guideline, is I think I'd like to put that to a committee to think about.
If you
That would be,
don't,
and I'm fine with it going to create a committee, I wouldn't object, could we schedule that committee so that if a board member, so we're not in a conflicting committee, I would like to attend.
Well,
but
this
it's not
might be,
really-
if the committee's willing, they can do it outside of
Yeah.
Yeah,
the normal timeframe too.
that would be fine too.
I don't know, well,
Otherwise, I was just going to suggest, based on the conversation we heard tonight, if you want to allow staff to meet on our end, as far as discussing our minutes, give it some time to process, and then if it's still an issue, we can then move that direction. But I think, at least Tanya and I think we got a clear idea of the comments that were said. We'll follow up with Erica and other staff liaisons, so we can ensure that consistency. And if you want to raise it as a point, further discussion down the road, we're always happy to do
give
that.
it a couple cycles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've gotten a lot
Is that
of,
okay?
yeah, we've gotten
Yeah,
enough
it's-
suggestions that I think you can process them and then we can see if there's some change and if it meets our needs, rather than trying to come up with a policy and then implement it. We're gonna be doing minutes anyway,
And
right?
I just want to make sure that, we don't see an overreaction on this to the point of
I think I have a
transcript.
pretty,
We now want
I think I have a
transcripts.
pretty clear idea as far as what we're looking for here.
Yeah.
So, and, I mean, we can always adjust based on, comments that the full board advises, so, but, I think just hearing some of your comments today,
Okay.
we can,
Yeah,
as staff, certainly talk about it.
yeah, because I think it would be helpful at the beginning to have just a summary of like the main issue was weekly versus bi-weekly. I mean, that was the
Didn't we want to say
decision.
that several
Yeah,
of the
you want to
trustees
just,
will
or
require
like, and others were just,
And they were terrible, the other
yeah,
ones.
yeah, the
But
other
there was
ones.
discussion on moving the needle, I don't know what the term would be, but that.
Thrown under the
Right, because
bus.
moving the needle may not make sense outside of the
Absolutely,
right?
I mean, that's.
So it does, I think that's what I'm looking for, is to try to have sort of language that's not so descriptive, or subjective, or that it just is topic,
Subject to.
Yes, yeah.
We want quotes.
Right, and that's hard to do. I mean, we have some very lengthy, one thing I think is great about this board board is that we have a lot of stamina to have really lengthy discussions and go back and forth. And, you know, I just want to say, Tanya, I think that you've done an excellent job trying to keep up with us. And so I think we also have to look at, we present some challenges as a board to, you know, come up with minutes. So I think I like the way that we're sorting it out. I like the way that we're looking at options. And, you know, I think that we can come up with something that, you know, but we do throw a lot towards the recording. Yeah, towards staff.
Okay,
Well, thank you for your comments, everyone.
let's move on.
Oh, we still have
We got
more.
more to check.
Oh, reports of village officials, I have one, as you recall, on the 13th, which is a week from tonight. We're going to be meeting to have the folks that are quoting on the village manager recruitment process. And there were the idea now is that Tyler is going to be getting out the minutes, the agenda for the meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll send it out tomorrow with a spreadsheet summarizing the proposal.
And he's also going to include, even though we all got it already in separate things, but he's going to include the five proposals that we received. Tyler and I did meet last week, and we actually came up with our own thoughts on eliminating two so we can keep it to, you know, a more manageable number when they come in. But you'll have the opportunity to take a look at that. We did eliminate the high bidder, and we eliminated one other. We kept in the low bidder.
The
And,
two lowest ones.
but, you know, the bid amounts are not really that important on something like this. They're, you know, it's just not that big of a spread. But we will,
What time is that?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. The idea is that
Thinking 6 to 9.
yeah, we're looking at 6 o'clock until 6:30. We will meet without the candidates here. We'll bring in the first candidate, not candidate, the first bidder. I should say.
Candidate.
Submitter.
Yeah.
They'll come in at 6:30. They will have a half an hour. The idea would probably be 15-minute presentation, 15-minute Q&A, and then we will do a 15-minute review of that particular person, and then, so that the whole thing will take 45 minutes, and then we'll bring in the next person for a half an hour, plus the 15 minutes, and then the third person will come in for a half an hour with the 15 minutes after. And then we'll schedule a half an hour after that for discussion and possible consideration if we want to make the actual consideration then. Yes?
We're in budget committee, we've been discussing the draft.
I'm sorry, what?
We've been discussing multiple reiterations and having a few meetings on the purchasing policy, and one of the things they talked about is just documenting a memo for the other board members. Like if there was, you mentioned low bid wasn't necessarily so if there was other criteria.
Well, and that'll be in the spreadsheet that he's going to work on, and you'll have the opportunity to see the bids again, even though you've already had the opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he emailed them all.
You'll get it again tomorrow.
But it'll come by.
Shorter synopsis of it. I don't know if you did a chart. I
Yeah.
Yeah.
Came from you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were emailed over the Dropbox.
Next two,
They're
last Tuesday.
emailed.
They were emailed, they
Last
weren't
Tuesday.
Dropbox.
Yeah, not Dropbox, it was emailed.
You'll get it again tomorrow.
Thank you. I'm not in, having been through a similar process before, I think that there may be a situation arise where in discussing, picking selecting a firm to help us, that we might naturally start to cross over into talking about our current manager and
He won't be here.
I understand, and performance or those sorts of things that might fold into moving forward. And I'm wondering if it would make sense to post the meeting, allowing us to go into closed session to talk about
Yes.
personnel, evaluation,
And that's the idea,
performance.
the last half an hour that would be.
Oh, did you say that?
I did
sorry.
say,
No,
that.
yeah.
I didn't quite get that.
Okay.
The idea would be to go into closed session after we do the 15-minute discussion on the third one, then we go into closed session to,
Brilliant.
and to discuss. And if we could come out of, and there would have to be notice that we can come out of closed session if we want to make a
Right.
Yeah.
consideration. Yes?
It's gonna come back to me in 1 second.
Okay.
Go ahead, you can continue on. I can't remember.
Okay.
Well,
Oh, there it is.
I have no other,
Oh,
no, sorry.
in the, I forgot to ask this, I don't know if it was in the meeting minutes or in the packet, but are we looking at an interim? It sounded like we were from something written here, I don't remember the document, or do we make